Everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Haul. On time, actually, on Wednesday. This is New Comic Book Day. I'm recording this, and it's live right now. But when you watch it on playback, it was recorded on Wednesday, which was New Comic Book Day. So today is November 1st, and it is beginning of November. So we've got 4 weeks of stuff coming up. And it seems like they crammed a whole bunch of stuff into this week because this is this week's Comic Haul. And I'm paused again. There we go. This week's Comic Haul. Comic Haul is basically my show where I talk about new books that I got out this week or new books that are out this week, and these are the ones that I got. There are a lot more that came out this week that I got that I didn't get. These are the ones that I did get. Just real quick, it was great. My local store, Cards, Comics, and Collectibles, moved to their new location today. I got to see it with my son, and it's absolutely stunning. It's still under construction. Mostly, I mean, they've got everything basically laid out. They just got to add some more stuff and stuff like that. But it'll be fully ready very shortly. But it was ready for for New Comic Book Day this week. And the owner of the company, who's a friend of mine, came in and said, "Hey, Dylan, looks like you're home." I saw this. So, I mean, your home is your home, but your home finally here. This is where you come. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, some interesting stuff got out this week, particularly about this one. I forgot about this one, but it came out this week. This is Dead Man #1. It's a 6-issue miniseries. This is the glow-in-the-dark cover, and there was a glow-in-the-dark cover I used to absolutely adore. It was for Ghost Rider back in the 90s, and I used to have it in a bag in my room, and I would have it sitting up so that it would suck up all the light, so that at night when you turn off the light, you'd see the skull glowing in the dark. So we'll see how this works. But this is the glow-in-the-dark cover for Dead Man. Neil Adams is writer and artist on this one. So Neil Adams has been one of the creators of, not creators, but one of the artists who's most known for his Dead Man stuff in the 70s. So now he's coming back. This Dead Man is one of my absolute favorite characters. And to get Neil Adams back working on it is actually great. And then on top of that, to get a black and white, or not black and white, a glow-in-the-dark cover is fantastic. So wonderful, wonderful stuff. So excited to read this. Next up, we got, I wasn't really going to get this, but I figured I would because the creator of Black Lightning is actually writing this. This is Black Lightning, Cold Dead Hands, #1 of a 6-issue miniseries. Tony Isabella, who created Black Lightning, is actually writing the miniseries as well, with art by Clayton Henry. It's also perfectly timed with the Black Lightning TV show that's going to be coming up, I think, next year on the CW. So, you know, Clayton Henry's got good artwork, and when you get the creator of the character to come back to the creator, I think it's a good bet that you should probably pick up this book. So I think I will be picking up all 6 issues of this. Particularly, I like the Clayton Henry artwork, and the fact that Tony Isabella, who created Black Lightning, is going to be writing it, I think is a great idea. This just is in the level of just fun. Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica #2. Just, it's a fantastic series. We even get a little bit of Sabrina and Satana together, which is fantastic. Oh, see, there's Satana right there. Because Paul Dini is one of the co-writers, along with who's it? It's Paul Dini, Mark Andreyko, Lara Braga. Where's the rest of the creative team? Come on. Where are you? You might not even be in here. Oh, so here. Mark Andreyko, Paul Dini, drawn by Lara Braga. Yep, that's what I thought. But I mean, you get Betty and Veronica, you get Harley and Ivy, you get Satana and Sabrina, you get Josie and the Pussycats. It's a gorgeous picture of Satana. Kids of Archie or Riverdale are dressed up in costumes. You get Catwoman in there as well. So, and Sabrina and Satana sharing the scene. So you gotta love it. Paul Dini loves his Satana, and he created Harley Quinn, so that's always fun to watch. I got this one because I'm actually surprised they didn't do anything special for this. Now, Marvel's been redoing their legacy numbers, so basically what Marvel Legacy is doing for those old comics that are older, you know, I'll give you an example, Spider-Man. So Spider-Man came out in the 60s, so it lasted till like the early 90s. So it's like #1 to like 450. Then they rebooted him and started a new series, I think with John Byrne doing this story, and then that lasted like maybe, I don't know, 50 issues or something like that. And then they did another new one, and then like another new one after that, and now they're just going back to the numbering, which they said if you add up all the ones that we restarted in there, it equals where we are right now, like 757 or whatever. In this case, Superman is celebrating its 800th issue, and I'm very surprised that they did not make this like triple sized. And so like this is the variant cover. I wanted to get it because Tony Daniels got a couple good covers out this week. But you know, apparently this is the 800th issue of Superman, going back to the 1940s, I guess. This continues the Imperious Lex storyline written by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, with art by Ed Bennis, Doug Mahnke, and Jack Herbert. So it's nice artwork, and of course you got the cool creative team back in on this, and great artwork. It's a fun series, and really excited to see where they're going to go with this Dark Side storyline. And you know, it's always good to see some Ed Bennis artwork as well. So the 800th issue of Superman is actually Superman number 34. Speaking of Tony Daniel, here is his cover for Batman number 34, which Tom King is killing it on the series. I think it is Joel Jones also draw this one also. Let me see. Yep, Tom King, written by Tom King with art by Joel Jones. And it continues the rules of engagement storyline, where Batman and Catwoman, who are now engaged, have to take care of some unfinished business. So they are in here taking care of business, and plus you get a little bit of how people are reacting to the engagement. So, but nice Tony Daniel cover to go with the Superman 800 one. I like that too. All right. Continuing the Dark Knight's Metal tie-in, this is Batman the Devastator, number 1, again with the shiny metal cover. It's written by Frank Thierry and James Tynion, with art by Tony S. Daniel and Danny Miki. I like Tony Daniel. And so we've got more continuing the metal storyline, and this one where I think this one is a Doomsday Batman. So a Batman Doomsday thing. So it continues the storyline where these are alternate dimension Batmans, and we figure out how they came to be, and now they're going to be invading the main Earth here on DC, and that's what the metal storyline is about. So but yeah, Tony Daniel is all over the place this week, which is great. And speaking of Tony Daniel and Robert Venditti are going to be doing a spin-off out of metal called Damage, which looks actually really cool. Tony Daniel's going to be doing the artwork, so I might have to check that one out as well. So interesting stuff going on. So again, pretty good series like that. Now, the metal storyline is going to go through Valentine's Day next year, so the whole thing won't wrap up until then. So we've still got lots of stuff to go. Now, they've already done a crossover with some of the regular DC comics. There's only 4 issues. It was a 4-issue storyline. It was Green Arrow, Suicide Squad, and Nightwing. I can't remember who the other one was. But they're doing another one now. Flash started off last week, and now we have Justice League, number 32. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps is going to be part 3 next week, and then Justice League number 33 is going to be the final part of it next week as well. It's written by Robert Venditti with art by Liam Sharp, and this is the storyline that started over in Flash. You have to read Flash first before you read this one, and then to find out what happens next week, you have to buy Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and then to find out how it ends, just buy Justice League number 33 again. So this is their version of the crossover. So again, it's all part of the metal storyline. It's a tie into the metal storyline. So if you've been reading the metal storyline, you probably want to check that out as well. I've been given this some bad stuff, but I've been looking at the artwork for it, and it actually, this cover, I think I'm gonna, let's double check it, is going to be tied for best cover of the week, I think. No, there's a couple of contenders for that. I'll have to make a decision. Did any of these other covers jump out at me? Not really. But yeah, this one is in contention for cover of the week. I'll pick it at the end of the show, which I've been doing lately. But this is contender for one of the covers of the week. It's Batman White Knight #2. It is an alternate reality where the Joker is the good guy, and it's written and drawn by Sean Murphy. And it actually, the art is very nice looking, and it's just, you get the Joker as the good guy, Batman is the bad guy, and you get a bunch of his rogues gallery in there. But it looks really, really good. I mean, I'm looking at the artwork now even closer. It looks better than the first issue. So very interesting. So we'll see what happens. But looks good. So this is a contender for cover of the week. So Batman White Knight #2. Next up we have Green Lanterns #34, continuing Tim Seeley's run on the series with art by Bilquis. I'm sorry, Ronan Cliquet. Bilquis was on Wonder Woman. So I like the Green Lanterns. This is a good series. Interesting to see what Tim Seeley. I haven't read last week's or 2 weeks ago's issue. Tim Seeley's first one on here, so we'll see how it goes. Sam Humphries did a good run on this, so hopefully it won't be too bad. But I like Tim Seeley, so we'll check it out. And there's that. Next up, we have Deathstroke #25, which is double-sized issue ending the Defiant storyline. It's written by Christopher Priest. Where are you? Where is the creative team here? There we go. Written by Christopher Priest with art by Carlo Paglione and inks by Norm Ratmud, Trevor Scott, and Jason Paz. So double-sized stuff. Christopher Priest is killing it on the series, doing a really, really good job. And definitely worthwhile. And the fact that Deathstroke got to 25 and finally it looks like he's back in his old outfit again after being the white one for a while, and he's taken on a bunch of bad guys. So pretty cool. Next up we have Bombshells United #5. This continues the digital first storylines. They are small, like 10-page stories written by Marguerite Bennett and drawn by different people. This one is drawn by Sia Oyum. So basically it is another alternate reality where the women superheroes went to war and had adventures during World War II, and these are them. This is the second volume. Okay, so the second part is art by Marcello Di Chiara, and this is the last part of the American Soil storyline. So there's probably going to be another storyline starting after this one. So it's a good series. It's very entertaining. I've got I think there's 4 or 5 trades of the last one, and now we have this series. So it's fun. It's good. It's good to look at. Now we have 2 Hanna-Barbera books, because as I said, they're starting to get picked up again, which means Snagglepuss is not that far away. But one of the other ones I was excited about, we are getting a 6-issue miniseries of the Jetsons, the updated version of the Jetsons for the modern day DC Hanna-Barbera stuff. They're doing for the Jetsons what they did with the Flintstones, stuff like that. It's written by Jimmy Palmiotti with art by Pierre Brito. So a definite different take on the Jetsons than you're used to, but that's what makes it entertaining. And it should be interesting to see where this goes. It's a 6-issue series, and it looks like they're treating it more like the Fantastic Four, which is kind of interesting. So, while at the same time still trying to keep some of the same Jetson style jokes and stories going on in that. And then we have Dastardly Muttley #3 of 6, so we're halfway through the Dastardly Muttley series, written by Garth Ennis, which is really unusual to have Garth Ennis writing a Hanna-Barbera series, but it's also just as weird as having Howard Chaykin's writing one also, with art by Morissette. So we've got Dastardly Muttley, so I'm going to keep up with this because Garth Ennis, when he's on, and these Hanna-Barbera books have been really, really good. So definitely worth check that out as well. There you go. Now we're going to Marvel. Now this kind of pissed me off because I saw this ad and I was like, ooh, I should be buying some Marvel books. But then I looked through it and then I realized, oh wait, it's a one-shot. It's Power Pack number 63. I loved Power Pack growing up. It was my favorite comics. And then I saw this like, oh, they're going back to a regular series. No, it's just a one-shot. Devin Grayson, who hasn't written in a long time, wrote this issue with Marika Cresta. And the goal is to do a bunch of these, which means I saw the ad. Also, Dark Hawk is going to be a one-shot, which makes me angry because I wanted to see a Dark Hawk regular series. Not Brand Eck and Silver Sable, they're all going to be one-shots. And I guess if you want to see more, you're going to have to let them know. But this is the one-and-done series of Power Pack, which is a shame because I really, really like Power Pack, and I wish they would do it as a regular series. But that's right. It says, got a problem with that? Oh, sorry. Up next, Nothing Not a Zilch. It's called a one-shot, duh. Got a problem with that? Then get to work. If you want more Power Pack, write to mheroes@marvel.com. Mark your letter OK to print and tell us how much you loved our blast from the past. All right. Also, Master of the Kung Fu is going to be a one-shot, which is coming out next week. Not Brand Eck is coming out in 2 weeks. Silver Sable and the Wild Pack is coming out in 3 weeks, and Dark Hawk number 51 is coming out in 4 weeks. So essentially, it's a 5-week November. So, alrighty. So, if you're a fan of Power Pack and you want to see what they've got planned maybe for the future, and maybe get more, go ahead and do that. We also have Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man number 6, written by Chip Zdarsky. This is one that Adam Kubert was doing the artwork on, but he's taking a breather on this one, and it's art by Michael Walsh. Basically, it's called My Dinner with Jonah, and the whole episode is basically J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man having a dinner and discussing their issues with each other. So Chip Zdarsky strikes again in a very fun way. So good on that. And the last Marvel we have is Star Wars Darth Vader number 7, Charles Soule, Giuseppe Camuncoli, Danielle Orlandini, the artwork. The Star Wars comics have been really, really good, and they've been doing an excellent job with them, and this one is no different. The artwork is really nice looking, and Charles Soule's been writing a lot of these, so well worth it. Now for the independents, there was a Doctor Who crossover going on that basically deals with everybody. The final 2 issues of that came out this week. We have I'll do it for one at a time, Doctor Who Special number 2 with River Song on the cover. It's got three stories. River Song story written by Emma Beebe with art by Ivan Rodriguez. Jenny arts by Carlos Moreno, Elton Tomasi, Rafael Dantas, Adriano Vicente, and Alice artwork I.N.J. Colbert. So it's taking a look at, I guess, some of the friends of the Doctor Who, all the iterations of it. So, and all connected to the storyline. So. Alice. I guess this might be a little cross both them. And then the final part of the crossover, the Omega, Dr. Omega, is out this week with all 4 doctors on there. And this one was written by George Mann and Kevin Scott with art by Mariano Lacloistre. Ooh, that's a pretty nice looking piece of artwork right there. Looks like it's got all 4 of the doctors working together in this one of the modern era. And then you got appearances by the other doctors in this interesting 3rd page. Oh, next up we have Crosswind number 5. Gail Simone and Kat Staggs. This is putting the changing body story in a different way. Instead of it being a mother and a child, or a father and a son, or a father and a daughter, or a daughter and a son, or a son and a mother, whatever, it's actually a hitman trades bodies with an abused housewife. and the result has been fantastic. So Cat Staggs is the illustrator, Gail Simone is the writer. It's a fun storyline. I've caught up with it. It's really good, very interesting, and good characters. Some mysticism in there as well. All right. Here's another possibility for cover of the week, and you can probably imagine why. It's Red Sonja number 10, written by Amy Chu with art by Carlos Gomez. So, because I'm a big dumb male, this is a fantastic cover for me. It's continuing Red Sonja's adventures in present day the United States. So she's heading for Vegas, so that should be a very interesting story to see what she does there. But Amy Chu and Carlos Gomez are doing a wonderful job with this new iteration of Red Sonja, and of course it's very well drawn and very exciting. We also have Betty Page number 4, David Avalone, Esau Figueroa, and Bain Duncan Wade, the creative teams on this. And it's more than what you think. It's Betty Page. It's the story of an actress in Hollywood who is getting involved in cases and crimes. So it's not what you expect from a Betty Page story. It's an actual comic story. It's not just someone looking around being cheesecakey. She's actually having adventures and stuff like that, which is a good. What Dynamite does good with their female characters. They can give the cheesecake aspect of it, as you saw with Red Sonja and with this one, but they can also give them an interesting story arc as well. Continuing the reimagining of Robotech, we have issue number 4 by Brian Wood with art by Marco Turini. A surprise death that didn't happen in the TV series happens here. So they are really changing things up a little bit, so we'll see. But it's the basic setup has been what you expect from the series. Like, it's just basically adapting some of the other episodes. This is one where they discover that their ship that they're in, the Macross 1, can change into a giant robot, but it in turn kills somebody, which we're not going to show you who. So it's a good one as well. Elsewhere number 4, written by Jay Faber, with art by Sumaye Keskin. Basically, it's Amelia Earhart and D.B. Cooper trapped in an alternate dimension or another planet or whatever, trying to get off. But it's interesting when you have Amelia Earhart and D.B. Cooper as your heroes. They're historical, and it's just a different take. And wouldn't it be amazing if this is actually what happened to Amelia Earhart and D.B. Cooper? So, ooh, there's a surprise. I'm not going to tell you about that surprise. That's interesting. So, gotta check it out for yourself. Speaking of Tony Daniel, The Shadow and Batman number 2, also from Dynamite. This is a Tony Daniel cover, so Tony Daniel's all over the place today. I should have named this episode Tony Daniel. It's written by Steve Orlando with art by Giovanni Timpano. So we've got The Shadow and Batman teaming up again. They teamed up in DC, and now they are teaming up in Dynamite. So that's why it's called Shadow and Batman, and not Batman Shadow. The last one was called Batman Shadow. So, fun stuff. And finally, clue number 5 is the next to last issue of the 6-issue miniseries. The 6th issue will have multiple endings, just like the movie did. It's written by Paul Allor with art by Nelson Daniel. It plays just like the board game, and you have to figure out who the killer is. So they leave all kinds of clues, and then we'll get the answer next issue. So, very interesting. And that, my friends, is the last for the Comic Haul for this first day of November and the first week of the 5-week November. I think I've decided, even though I am a big dumb male, I think I'm going to go with Batman White Knight number 2 as the cover of the week. So definitely check that out. The artwork matches the inside pretty much for the most part. But as I said, lots of good covers. The Peter Parker Spider-Man one was a good one. The River Song one's a good one also. And of course, you know, can't go wrong with Sonja. All right. So I'm excited. My comic store has moved closer to me, so I'm more excited about that. It's much bigger, and they're going to have their first creator up there, Joe Pruitt, who wrote Black Eyed Kids and a lot of other stuff, is going to be up there signing stuff. So they'll be utilizing their new space that they have to have him, you know, be a lot, not be so compressed as they used to be in the old buildings. So there'll be a little space, and they'll be able to have a lot of people go around and talk to them. So should be a lot of fun. So if you're in the Maryland area and you want to check out the new look Cards, Comics, and Collectibles in Reisterstown, please do. It's on 51 Main Street, right on Main Street in Reisterstown, in historic Reisterstown, and my house is literally down the road to the left. So I could walk there in 5 minutes or drive there in about a minute or two. So fantastic. Also, real quick, I'm going to thank, I didn't get your name, I'll take a look at it later, but a really nice lady, nice woman, made a comment on my last Comic Call video, and then there's been another gentleman who made one a couple weeks ago. I want to thank you guys for making comments. I don't know how to utilize the comment board on here because I've tried different things and nothing's coming up. I have 0 viewers anyway right now, so it doesn't matter. But I want to thank you all for your comments, and I think I might go back in and thank you on the video itself, the comments section. And thank you all, but and also thank you for subscribing. I'm back up to 80 subscribers, which is great. I'd like to get 100 plus eventually, but I'll start anywhere I can. So thank you again. Happy November. It is November 1st. Those are the good stuff that came out this week. If you're in the Maryland area, come out to the grand opening weekend at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles out in Reisterstown with Joe Pruitt signing stuff on Saturday. So fantastic. And enjoy yourselves. We have a 5-week month this year. So we have 5 weeks of comics. Of course, Thanksgiving rolls in there a little bit. So it should be interesting, but it'll space the comics out. So after this possibly insane week that I had price-wise, hopefully the next ones will be not as bad because they'll spread out the things. One quick side note, which I didn't get, but I want to mention, is one of the greatest stories of all time in comics that has never been collected is finally out in a $50 hardcover deluxe collection. Came out this week. It is Peter David and Esteban Morato's The Atlantis Chronicles. Peter David wrote it back in the early 90s before he took over Aquaman and used a lot of his storylines from Aquaman from this Atlantis Chronicles. And Esteban Morato does a fantastic job with the artwork. It is a great story, gorgeous looking hardcover. I'm probably going to ask for Christmas, and hopefully I'll get it because it's gorgeous. I'm going to see if it's on Amazon, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So if you go to your local comic book store and you feel like dropping about $50 on something, and you want something good and something different, pick up the Atlantis Chronicles. It is it's a miniseries, 6-issue miniseries, double sized. Every issue, gorgeous artwork, mature themes. If you like Game of Thrones, you might like this very much as well. So I'm gonna pick that up, maybe hopefully get it for Christmas, or if I somehow get $50 that burning a hole in my pocket, I might pick it up by myself. Or if they do a sale sometime in the next couple of weeks, like around Thanksgiving, they usually do good sales. You know, by then it'll be a few weeks old, so I might be able to get it at half price or something like that. So we'll see, but definitely check it out. The Atlantis Chronicles deluxe hardcover, $50, is out this week as well. I wish I had a copy I could show you, but I don't. But I recommend it. It is one of the best stories I've ever read, and finally gets a hardcover it deserves, and collection it deserves. So good little comic store this weekend. Halloween is in the rearview mirror, unfortunately. Christmas is way down the line. Thanksgiving's a little bit closer. So now we're just sort of in that period where, okay, we've got, you know, Thanksgiving coming up and things are going to start getting cooler. We turn our clocks back. Don't forget that. We turn clocks back Saturday night before you go to bed, because Sunday morning about 2 a.m. the clocks go back. So we get an hour back, but that means light in the morning, dark at night until we get to, around the winter solstice, and then it starts getting light again in the evenings. But till then, it's going to be dark and it's going to be dreary. But you know what? It's November in the Northern Hemisphere, and we got all kinds of cool stuff coming. We got 5 weeks of comics coming up this week, all kinds of exciting things. So this weekend, don't forget, turn your clocks back. Go to your local comic book stores, pick up any of the comics I showed you, or anything else that you show of interest that I didn't show. As I said, there's a whole mess of other comics that came out this week that I did not buy because I'm not going to buy everything. And if you want something that I highly recommend, the Atlantis Chronicles Deluxe hardcover, $50. I recommend it more than anything right now. It's good for the holidays, good for the fan of comic books, good for a fan of the upcoming Aquaman movie coming out next year, and just if you're a fan of Game of Thrones also. It's a very lush, very fantasy-esque storyline that doesn't have Aquaman in it at all till the very end when he's a baby. Peter David, Esteban Morato, fantastic. On that note, have a great weekend. As I said, if you're in the Reisterstown area, Cards, Comics, and Collectibles is in a new building, much bigger before. They're going to have writer Joe Pruitt in town signing stuff, so definitely worth it. I might just walk up there. I can walk up there now to check it out. So thanks, guys. See you next week. Turn your clocks back an hour, Saturday night into Sunday before you go to bed. Sunday morning, 10 a.m. or 2 a.m. is when the clocks go back.